Hey guys, it's White Baljeet here. This is a video that I've been wanting to make for a couple weeks now. I finally have the time to. I've been pretty busy recently, so I'm going to talk about me beating Bloodbath. Now, some of you might know that I wasn't recording while beating Bloodbath, so instead of showing you a completion, I'm going to be talking about the journey because honestly, that is a lot more important to me. It took me, I think, from the months of October 2025 to March 2026 for this completion, and it is my new hardest. So I'm going to talk about 5 stages of playing the level. Okay, so here is chapter 1. I don't actually really have names for these chapters, but whatever. So this is like the early stages of playing the level. I started looking at this level in about October of 2025. This is approximately 3 months after I had beaten Cataclysm as my first Extreme Demon and a new hardest. I wanted to go for a new hardest, but I didn't really see any levels that I would have thought I would like enjoy. So I decided to look at Bloodbath because not only is it sort of a big jump from Cataclysm, but I feel like its gameplay is much like more catered toward my strengths as a player. So I decided to pick up the level. I don't remember like my first runs of the level. I think like the first things I did were at the ending of the level, maybe like 94 to 100 or 92 to 100. But eventually I played the level. I did like the entire level. It took me maybe I think a couple days to do like the level in like about 5 runs, maybe. I'm not sure if it was 5, maybe like a little bit more. I think it was like the last half of the level in 3 runs. I'd say that was pretty good. And then I started playing from zero. And I will say the beginning of the level is like my least favorite part of the level because all of like the hard gameplay that's actually like supposed to be hard is not at the beginning, loops you into this false sense of security. The beginning kind of like you're given a break after the first part and you're entering into the hardest part of the level, that being Michigan. I will talk about this later, but obviously my first Michigan attempt, I died at it and that got me a new best. I'm pretty sure it was like 24%. At the time, I was feeling very good because, like, I got this level probably in like 5 runs by now. I could probably beat this somewhat soon because I'm making quick progress. But progress did start to slow down. Before chapters 2 starts, I'd just like to say there are birds and a lawnmower outside. So if you hear that, that is low key on me. So chapter 2, this is obviously I just done my first Michigan attempt. I had been getting consistent at getting to Michigan, but I had not been consistent at passing Michigan. I think my first like ACM attempt, which is the part after Michigan, was like on my 10th Michigan attempt, which should not happen. The level is not this hard for Michigan to be like this that much of a choke point. Keep in mind, it's 20% into the level, so I still got to play like 70% after Michigan. So me being this bad at that part, and I practiced it very often. I just I don't know. Attempts started rising, and my progress kind of slowed just a little bit. I did end up getting some good attempts though in Evasium. I think like 34, 38, maybe like 40, I think 2 times. And then one attempt, I actually got to the ship part. That is, I believe, Crack's part. And I actually passed the entire thing. So then I go to the UFO part, which is pretty easy. And I died to it. That's a new best though. 57%. 57%. And I was very proud of myself. I couldn't believe that I had just like fluked Bloodbath from like by like 13%. But like it's fine, it's a hard level. But That fluke meant a lot to me. But when I looked at my Michigan attempts, I saw I had like over 70 of them, and I only passed it like less than 10 times. So even though that I'd still got a new best, I got 57%. I still felt like something was off, something was not right. I'm still inconsistent at Michigan. How will I be able to overcome this? And by this time, it's well into November at this point. I'd been playing the level probably about as long as I played Ultimate Demon Mix. That level took me 3 weeks. So we're probably in week 3 or week 4 of the completion. And I was just starting to get a little bit of a demotivation spike. Just a little bit though. But that's the end of this chapter. Growth is still here, but it is becoming less and less consistent. On to chapter 3, which is just truly the downfall of Bloodbath, in my opinion. This takes place from around late November all the way to the end of December, so the end of 2025. I did not get a new best during this time. However, I doubled my Michigan attempts. I went from like 60 or 70, as I said, to over 120. At this time, I will say I did get just a bit more consistent at Michigan near the end of the grind. Maybe instead of passing it every like 15% of the time, maybe it's like 25 to 30% of the time. However, Evasium got a lot more difficult for me. So did the ship part. I got it a few times, but I just kept dying to the ship part, especially the start of it and 44%, even though those aren't really that hard. I do remember at the climax of this, it was some December day. I wanted to play Bloodbath just to get my mind off of playing other levels at the time, which I had beaten. And I got a pretty good run. I got past Michigan, and then basically I might to walk in. And I got to the ship part. I actually passed the ship part, and I knew this was going to be a new best. All that was standing within me was the UFO part, but I'd prepared for that. Even though I passed the ship part, I died to the 52% click. After that, honestly, I just lost all motivation. And I think that was the point in time when I'm like, can I really do this anymore? I know I got 52, but like, can I really do this anymore? Do I really want to keep going on this level? My attempts count had risen probably over 9,000 by this point. Much longer, much more attempts than any other level, even Cataclysm. And I was just done. I started playing new levels, and I think I had officially dropped Bloodbath. On to chapter 4. So this takes place roughly, I'd say, in the months of January and February. So during this time, I did not play Bloodbath at all. I think I probably got actually I played Bloodbath a little bit, but I did not really do well in it and try and get a new best. I didn't really try and put in those Michigan attempts. I'd say I did like 10 Michigan attempts during that whole time. And here's the crazy thing about that. In 10 Michigan attempts, I actually got a new best. I passed that 52% click and I got to the UFO. And I was so scared at that point because it had been a couple months that I got a new best that I died at 58%. 1% is all I did in a couple months. I think that's better than Doggy with Grief, but stay with me now. At this point, I just wanted to play easier levels. I was really getting fond of insane demon levels. I thought those were like the perfect difficulty for me. They were challenging, but they weren't like really hard to the point where I would just be spending multiple days playing it and I wouldn't get any progress. So I'm going to list out some of the levels I beat during this time. Windy Landscape, I beat a little earlier, November 2025. That was during like the golden age of the Bloodbath completion. Acropolis was near the start in October of 2025. Um, Magma Bound was February 2026. Crazy 2, I beat late December. And I actually also beat a new second hardest. I beat a new Extreme Demon. I beat Aku in January. So all these levels I beat in between the time of the Bloodbath completion. I wasn't putting in a lot of effort for Bloodbath during this time since I had dropped it. However, something changed. One day, my friend, who I always thought was worse than me, when I started the Bloodbath completion, his hardest was Crazy, which is a hard demon. He texted me a completion of a new level he beat. What is that level? It's Cataclysm, which is my hardest. I've known this friend for about 5 years, and I never thought of him as like an equal to me in this game. And now that he's low key and equal to me, this like reignited the flame within me to beat Bloodbath and prove to myself that I'm still improving as a player and I still got what it takes to be better than my friend. So I decided to do this new idea, a new strategy, if you will. I played from Michigan. Like played from like 24% to whatever I could get. I think I got like 24 to 70 in the first like 15 minutes, and then I went from zero. And that allowed me to fluke my first or second Michigan attempt, or at least beat that part. That attempt I kept going to the 52% clip. I passed it, and I got to the UFO part. I passed it, and then I got to Etzer, which at this point, I'm like, oh my goodness, I need to go. And I end up beating Etzer's part, and I'm in the last 15%. And there's this one part at like 89% that to me kind of felt like luck, but I actually ended up passing it. And before I knew it, I was at 90% on Bloodbath. Each click, I felt the tremble of my hand as my heart beat faster and faster. And then I died at 94. I had fluked Bloodbath from 58 to 94%. Part of me was glad because I also wasn't recording during this. I don't think I recorded any part of the Bloodbath completion arc, but this showed signs of progress. This showed signs that I could get consistent at this level. I just had to start trying again. And in the month of March, that is what I did. Okay, on to chapter 5, the final chapter. This takes place in March, and this starts with a new second best. One of these days while I was playing the level, I got 72%. I was pretty mad because I died at Etzer. It's like one of the first clicks of Etzer, but low key, I'm glad I never died at that click ever again because a few days later, on a call with the friend who had just beaten Cataclysm a week ago, I got a run on Bloodbath. This was after, I think, doing 24 to 94 on the level. I was ready to end this right here and right now. I got to Etzer's part. I passed it. I got to the next part. I passed it. Got to the 89% shift that I didn't really like. I passed it. And then I got to the end. I got to 94. I passed it. I got to the ball part. I passed it. I got to the final click, one click between me and completion, and I passed it. I had just beaten a new hardest after 8 months of having Cataclysm as my hardest. And I was on top of the world. At this point, I didn't really care that I hadn't recorded it. I don't know, I was just happy it was over. In terms of plans for extreme demons in the future, I do have some ideas of extreme demons I want to beat. I have two new hardists I want to beat, maybe, and two extreme demons that I definitely want to beat. I'm not going to reveal them. I'm just going to say that they might be coming out soon. So thanks for watching. This is a way longer video than I thought it would be. I'll see you soon.